so happy to have this preview trailer, man. Like, it's so good. I was wondering when we were gonna get some more, like, content for ReZero Season 3, because it's like, ReZero Season 3 is supposed to return this February, like February 5th, okay? That's like less than 2 weeks away. I was just like, when are we gonna get more? Like, when are we gonna get a PV trailer or something? And I just been wondering about that for the past week or so. And finally, earlier this morning, Katakawa delivered, and we got a new PV trailer for ReZero. And my goodness, it looks so good, dude. It looks so good. Just seeing all of the Sin Archbishops, seeing the expressions poured into this trailer, hearing the beautiful voice acting, the music, and everything. Oh, dude, man, I love ReZero. You know, confession time. Before I go any further, I know you guys want to hear about, like, why the title is like it is and the thumbnail, but I want to do a brief confession time. ReZero, man, is such a incredible series. It's had such a huge impact on my life that I hold it in such high esteem. I love it so much, and I know not everybody will relate to that, or not everybody will like ReZero to the same degree as I do, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. I know there's a lot of people out there that might even hate ReZero. Nothing wrong with that as well. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. The thing is that I really love ReZero. It is something that really has shaped and changed my life for the better ever since I really gotten into it, and I love it. I love this series. The story is incredible, and every time, you know, years pass on by and more time passes, my fondness for ReZero just grows exponentially. I love this series in all forms. I love the light novel, I love the web novel, I love the anime, I even love the manga, I love the spin-offs, the side stories. I love ReZero. It's just such a good piece of fiction, and it's something that I really hold so special within my heart. It's such a good feeling to find a series that really can affect you to such an emotional degree that you love so deeply. I love this series, man. It's so good, and I'm glad to have it back. I'm glad that, you know, we're once again going to be seeing new content of ReZero animated in the following weeks. So with that being said, let's get into one of the big aspects of why you clicked on this video, and that is obviously the censorship, or in this case, the uncensored content of ReZero. So I know it's ironic that I'm having to censor this when I'm talking about uncensored content, but that's just YouTube in general. You know, if I didn't do that, YouTube would not like me. They would basically shadow ban my entire channel, so that's just, it is what it is. But getting into the point, Priscilla's are out in the open, being ogled on, and this is a very heavily debated topic, actually. And I know that sounds ridiculous and crazy, but let me explain. So basically, there is a illustration. I can't show it on screen, sorry, but if you must know, just go to Google, type in ReZero Priscilla fan service illustration, okay? It's probably going to be the first thing you see on Google. If you type it in, whatever you see, it's not my fault, but I'm just saying that it's definitely going to be one of the first images you see. There is an official illustration of Priscilla basically getting undressed and then dressing and all that, and it's a very fan service heavy illustration shot. That's official, by the way. It's official art. And there was a lot of people that wondered that it would probably be more or less not in Season 3. There was a lot of people thinking either it was not going to be in or it was going to be very briefly covered. But judging by the PV shots coming out that was released, it's very clear that they did put a lot of attention and focus on it instead of trying to skirt around it. So, judging by how that is, most likely, it's probably going to be very shameless, great, and it's going to be uncensored, also very great. Now, this is continuing on with the conversation of uncensored content within ReZero, so let's explain that one. So, obviously, ReZero Season 3, I have a lot of praises for it. There is some negatives I could talk about, and there is some censored content in terms of outfit changes and stuff like that, which I've talked about briefly a long time ago. So, yes, there is still content that is somewhat censored within ReZero. But for the most part, it does seem like Season 3 of ReZero has been the least censored content that we've ever gotten from the anime. Don't quote me on that one, but it really does feel like that, because I'm going to give good examples. I mean, we literally have moments, besides obviously fan service, where we see Lust straight up get her head, like, crunched, okay, in dragon form, or even outside of her form. We saw it, and she just straight up regenerates, and it's a very horrific regeneration scene that showcases her abilities, but it's just on full display just to see just the absolute disgusting nature of it. And that's not even including what happened to Subaru. Like, we literally saw this man, like, get sliced and just stuff fall out of him. I mean, it's very clear that ReZero Season 3, the animators and everyone, they don't care. They're going to show everything. And I really like that because obviously the content of ReZero Season 3 is very dark. And I think the content that follows afterwards, aka Arc 6 content, is going to be even darker. And if we can look at and take a judge from this stuff, Cour 1 and Cour 2 of ReZero Season 3, as an outlook to indicate what we could expect from, let's say, Cour 3 and Cour 4. So if we assume that they're willing to go this far for the uncensored content of, let's say, Cour 1 and Cour 2 of ReZero Season 3, we can assume Cour 3 and 4 is going to be even more uncensored, because there is a certain chapter, I'm not going to spoil, but there is a certain chapter that is in Arc 6 that, gonna be blunt with you, is probably the most graphic chapter that the entire series has ever had, in my personal opinion. I believe it's chapter 18 of the web novel, but it's extremely graphic. If you know, you know. And yes, I think it's more graphic than the rabbit scene. Even in the light novel, web novel, and anime, way more graphic, in my opinion. There's just some crazy stuff that happens. So, if we're getting content that's obviously uncensored to, like, the fan service, to the violence and stuff, seeing, like, you know, the overall regeneration of Lust in her face, it's very clear in terms of indication that we're going to continue getting that going forward. And I'm very happy about that. Obviously, the censorship isn't perfect. There is definitely content censored, but it is definitely better than it was, and I really do appreciate that. I extremely appreciate that, and I'm glad to see that the team that works on the show really is passionate about the show. And I actually was talking to an animator that's working on Cour 2, by the way, of Season 3, and they told me they had a lot of fun with working on some of the things they worked on and all that, and they're excited for people to see what they worked on. And they also told me as well that they just, it seems like overall that everything's going solid within it, like, you know, the anime and stuff, so there hasn't been any indication that, like, Season 3 is having production hell or anything like that. It seems to be very healthy, and the animators have been given enough time to really work on the said show. So that's very positive. I'm very happy to hear that, honestly. So yeah, just overall, just great news for ReZero fans. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the content within this trailer. So first off, I really do want to talk about the overall, like, expressions of the characters. I think the expressions are some of the best things that ReZero has ever offered, honestly, even since Season 1. There's always these very up-close and personal shots of characters, seeing how they react or their eyes and stuff, especially eyes. There's been a lot of focus of ReZero when it comes to the eyes. Like, you see zoom-in close shots of, let's say, like, Subaru's eyes or Amelia's eyes, stuff like that, and I especially love that. But we're getting a lot more expressional scenes within this PV trailer, to, like, obviously seeing Raph here, or seeing, like, Priscilla's smile here. Like, there's literally a smile here from Priscilla where she, like, smiles. It's a very up-close lip scene, and the only character I could think of that did something very similar to this is Rosewall and Elsa, the Battle Hunter, that has done a similar scene to this. I do love the expressive nature of the characters, and like I said, I love a lot of these cuts. It feels very nice. Which, speaking of which, we also have really nice cut expressions for Wilhelm here. Like, look at this face here. I'm gonna back up so you can see. But yeah, I like the expression, the visible, like, anguish and anger and commitment, I guess, you get from this frame. And this is the beauty of art, honestly. You can pull a lot of emotion out of frames and feel like what the characters are feeling. And I think this is very difficult for an artist slash animator to do, especially in a movement as well. But to visibly see, like, the emotions in a character and how it's expressed for the art, it's beautiful. And like I said, whoever was making these cuts, they probably got emotional while making them. It was not something that was just done just to write it off of a spreadsheet and get their paycheck. Clearly, a lot of these scenes, or all these scenes within ReZero, was done from a perspective of passion and love for the project. And once again, really love to see that. So, one scene in particular I do really like as well is... let's replay. You might have missed it. You might... The animator, whoever animated this, thought they could sneak this in. Like, you know for a fact they thought they could sneak this in, but they straight up, people were already talking about this basically instantly. Like, yes, this is a very important scene. We definitely needed a full back shot scene. Jokes aside, though, I'm so happy for ReZero, man. It's so good to be knowing that we're going to be having more episodes in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be able to sit back and just talk about it again. I love ReZero, man. It's so fun to just discuss on a constant, and I'm glad that, you know, a lot of you enjoy me talking about it too. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be really fun. I'm so excited. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.